Have you ever thought you truly knew the person you married? You share the same home, the same bed, the same dreams, or at least you think you do. But what if, one day, you discovered a secret so devastating, so earth-shattering, that it made you question whether you ever really knew them at all? This is the story of Sarah and Michael, a couple who looked perfect from the outside. But what Sarah uncovered one quiet evening would not only destroy her trust, it would change her life forever. And the shocking twist at the end, you will never see coming. Sarah and Michael had been married for 8 years. To the world, they were a picture-perfect couple. They had a 2-story home in a peaceful suburban neighborhood, complete with a white picket fence and a swing set in the backyard. Their 2 children, a boy and a girl, were the center of their universe. Friends and neighbors admired them. At barbecues, people would joke, "You two are relationship goals." Sarah would smile politely, though inside she sometimes wondered if that was still true. Michael was the provider, a successful accountant, always buried in numbers, always busy with clients. Sarah was the nurturer. She taught part-time at a local school, spent afternoons helping with homework, and made sure the house was filled with warmth and stability. On the surface, it was the American dream. But dreams have a way of hiding nightmares. Over the years, Sarah noticed small changes. Michael had started working later and later. "Just one more meeting," he would say, kissing her on the cheek as he grabbed his briefcase. He traveled more too. Overnight trips, weekend conferences. He always had an excuse. Sarah wanted to believe him. She told herself this was what marriage was about. Sacrifice, patience, trust. But late at night, when she lay in bed alone, doubt would creep in like an unwelcome shadow. One evening, while folding laundry, Sarah's hands brushed against something unusual in Michael's jacket pocket. A crumpled receipt. At first, she thought nothing of it. But when she glanced at it more closely, her heart nearly stopped. It was from a hotel just 30 minutes away from their home. The date was last week. Michael had told her he was on a business trip out of town that night. So why would he stay in a hotel so close to home? Sarah's stomach twisted. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the receipt, her pulse racing. She wanted to believe there was an explanation. Maybe it was a work-related event. Maybe he had too much to drink and didn't want to drive home. But deep down, her instinct screamed otherwise. That night, as Michael slept beside her, Sarah lay awake, staring at the ceiling, fighting back tears. The man she loved, the man she trusted, suddenly felt like a stranger. The next morning, while the kids were at school and Michael was at work, Sarah sat at the kitchen table with his laptop. Her hands shook as she opened it. She told herself she would only take a quick look, just to calm her suspicions. At first, everything seemed normal. Work emails, boring spreadsheets, financial reports, nothing unusual. Relief washed over her for a moment, until her eyes landed on a folder labeled Projects. Her heart pounded as she clicked it open. Inside were dozens of documents. But they weren't work files. They were messages, letters, pictures. Sarah scrolled faster and faster, her chest tightening with every word she read. And one name appeared over and over again: Rebecca. The messages painted a horrifying picture. Michael had been seeing Rebecca for over a year. He wrote to her late at night, pouring out his heart, telling her things he hadn't told Sarah in years. He promised he would leave his wife. He called Rebecca the love of his life. He told her she understood him in ways Sarah never could. Sarah's hands trembled as tears blurred her vision. She wanted to shut the laptop, to erase everything she had seen. But the truth was staring her in the face. When Michael came home that evening, Sarah could barely look at him. Her chest ached with rage and heartbreak. That night, when the children were asleep, she confronted him. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Who is Rebecca?" Michael froze. His face turned pale. At first, he laughed nervously. "Sarah, you're being paranoid. Rebecca? I don't even know anyone by that name." But when she reached into the drawer and pulled out the printed messages, his laughter stopped. Silence filled the room. A silence louder than any confession. Sarah's world shattered in that moment. The man she had trusted with her life was nothing more than a liar. She felt anger, pain, betrayal all at once. She thought of their children, their family, their future. Could she hold it all together after this? But just when Sarah thought she had discovered the worst, another blow came. Rebecca wasn't just a stranger. She wasn't some random woman Michael had met. She was someone Sarah knew. A friend from college. A woman who had once sat in her kitchen, sipping coffee, laughing about old memories. A woman who had smiled at Michael across the table while Sarah had no idea. The betrayal cut twice as deep. The days that followed were filled with chaos. Michael begged for forgiveness. He cried. He swore it was over. He said Rebecca meant nothing, that it was just a mistake, that he didn't want to lose his family. Sarah wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe for the children's sake. But every time she looked at him, all she could see was the man who lied to her, night after night. While living a second life in the shadows, their daughter began to notice. One evening, she asked softly, "Mommy, why are you and Daddy so sad?" Sarah's heart broke into pieces. She didn't want her children growing up in a house filled with pain, lies, and broken promises. But what choice did she have? After weeks of sleepless nights, endless tears, and agonizing decisions, Sarah chose freedom. She filed for divorce. The process was brutal. Court hearings, custody battles, endless paperwork. But through it all, Sarah stood strong. She knew she deserved better. She knew her children deserved to see what real strength looked like. In the end, Sarah walked away. The life she thought she had, the love she thought was real, it was gone. But in its place, she found something new: courage, independence, self-respect. Today, she says she is stronger than ever. And Michael, he ended up with nothing. Rebecca left him too. The woman he had sacrificed everything for disappeared the moment reality set in. He was left alone, drowning in the ruins of the life he destroyed. Sarah's story is proof that sometimes the truth is more painful than any lie, but facing it is the only way to truly move forward. Lies can destroy trust, but truth can build strength. So now I'll ask you, what would you have done? Would you have given Michael a second chance for the sake of the family? Or would you have walked away like Sarah did? Let me know in the comments, because the next story we bring you might be even more shocking than this one.